Okay, what's up, guys? Hope you're having a great day. Been getting a lot accomplished. Been working on the tractor, getting everything ready. I bought a tractor, by the way. Been working on the tractor, getting it rebuilt, and getting ready for planting season this year. Got John sent a bunch of seed and stuff in, so finally got all that in. And just kind of going around through getting ready for tournament season. Sadly, I did not get to shoot the first ASA of the year, so good luck to everybody out there shooting the ASA this weekend. But with preparation of tournament season came something that I've been going back and forth on for a couple of years now. Some of it works for me, some of it don't, and you might be going back and forth on it now too, and that is pin size on your sights. And with pin size, this video is going to be mainly over if you're looking into getting pins, you know, trying to go back and forth through what size, and you kind of don't know what direction to go. This is just to give you a comparison to whenever you go into bow shop and you go and check out pins and try out what works best for you. This kind of leads you in a direction that you may want to go, or just gives you a general comparison. So with that being said, let's get into everything on pin size. So with bow hunting, there's the main fiber that is used is a 19 thousandths fiber in a hunting setup, or a 10 thousandths fiber. Now with a 19 thousandths fiber, like in this sight here, if you look in to that is a 19 thousandths fiber. And I do like a 19 thousandths fiber, but what you'll notice is, for me personally, when you get 20 to 40, it works good. Your pin sits inside your target, your animal, whatever you're shooting at. It's got minimal pin float and it looks good. It doesn't take up a lot of space, but it's comfortable enough for you to look past it. You know your pin's there, you know where it's at, you can focus on what you're shooting at, and everything works out great. But also 50 out to say 100 yards, the farther you go back, your pin float might not be as much, and that's because for me it covers up the entire target, and it's very hard for me to look past, and it might be for you to look past my pin and stare at what I want to shoot at if my whole pin is covering the entire target. With a lens, I've used a 4-power lens and a 6-power lens, and I'll use a 19 thousandths fiber with that because it magnifies it and it works good. You know, I'm only shooting at 50 yards in tournaments. It magnifies it quite a bit, and I can still hold the 19 thousandths fiber within the 10 ring and know I'm within the 10 ring, so it works out great there. Without a magnification lens, it doesn't work out so well for me if you're shooting farther distance. But if you're not shooting farther distance, and say you're a youth and you're using a 19 thousandths fiber, that'll be good for you. A 10 thousandths fiber, which is the smallest fiber that you can get, that I know of. If there's any fiber smaller than that, let me know, but all I know of is 10 thousandths fiber being the smallest. Now with the 10 thousandths fiber, from 20 yards all the way back up to 100 yards, you are still going to be able to see your target. You're going to be able to look past your pin. You're going to be able to focus on what you want to hit, and you're still going to be able to see everything you pass. Great. But the problem that I have with my eyesight with a 10 thousandths fiber pin is pin washout. And what I mean by pin washout is I can't tell the difference between my pin fiber and the pin that holds the fiber itself, and I hit left and I hit right, and I just don't pull good shots unless I have my sight light turned up all the way to where it really starburst out them pins to where I can see it. A good comparison is a 10 thousandths fiber at 40 yards and 80 yards will look like a 19 thousandths fiber at 30 yards and 50 yards. You will have more pin float at closer distances with a 10 thousandths fiber than a 19 thousandths fiber. And if you have bad eyesight, a 10 thousandths fiber might not be the best for you. But if you're going out and you're pulling shots and you're shooting 80 to 100 yards, you have good eyesight, contacts, you got better eyesight than I do, then a 10 thousandths fiber might be the way that you want to go. Then we get into the sweet spot. For me, what I like personally is a 15 thousandths fiber pin. And if I hold a 15 thousandths pin up next to a 19 thousandths pin, it's still a pretty good drop off, but it's not the drop off like a 10 thousandths. Now, if I'm gonna shoot 3D with that, and I did last year, I shot a 15 thousandths pin. I used a 4 setup. For me, 4 magnification with a 15 thousandths pin was money. I shoot K50, farthest shots 50 yards in tournaments, so I could still hold within the 10 ring. And whenever I shot and shooting at 12s at 50, the 15 thousandths pin actually just covered up the 12. So when I knew that pin was covering up the 12, I was good. And I used a 6 thousandths or a 6 power lens also with a 15 thousandths pin, and it worked good. Pin float was a lot more than what I liked it, so I went back down to a 4 power. Then we get into the old Mac Daddy, and I do not have a 29 thousandths pin, but to give a general reference, I believe that the old, I think like the 1990s, 1980s, the metal pin that just had the metal dot at the end of it, that was a 29 thousandths pin. I actually had an old Toxonics sight that was 5 pin. It was 29 thousandths. And a 29 thousandths I would strictly use, for me personally, is someone that's new in archery, a youth, child. If I'm shooting a ASA tournament and I have, or if I'm shooting an indoor match and I got an 8 power lens, something that really blows things up and really magnifies stuff, and I'm trying to use a bigger pin to compensate for that pin wobble that's going to happen with that, I would use a 29 thousandths pin. Now at 20 yards with a 29 thousandths pin, it's going to cover up your vitals. Without a lens or anything, we're talking hunting setup, it's going to cover up your vitals. You could still look past it, and you know when your pin's sitting in the vitals, and you can make a good shot. You're good out to 30 yards, and it starts to blow up just a little bit more, 40, a little bit more. And with a 29 thousandths pin, if you go back to 60 yards with a 29 thousandths pin, you're going to be covering up the entire animal. You're not going to be able to tell where you're holding that pin at. All you're going to be able to see is a whitetail's butt and head, and 29 thousandths pin will basically cover up the whole shoulder and rib section. So if you're new to archery and you want to use a 29 thousandths pin, that'll be great for you because you can see the pin, you can focus on your shot, you can get the learning basics of archery and using the pin. Kids, it gives them something, a bigger pin will give kids something to focus on, to keep their attention, you know, through their sight. So that's great there. And then if you're shooting tournaments and you use a very, very, very high magnification lens, then you want to stop that pin wobble as much as possible. You're shooting an indoor match, you want to cover up that 10 ring as much as possible, so you know when your pin is centered in with that 10 ring and covering it up, you're going to hit the 10 ring, you're going to get an X. Then a 29 thousandths pin is for you. Just for me, if you're shooting longer shots like I do, it's not going to be the best pin for you. I would say a 29 thousandths pin would probably be maxed out at 40 yards. It would be about the most you would be able to tell where you're going to hit that animal where you're holding that pin without just completely just covering it up. So with all this being said, This video was made if you're going to the bow shop, you want to try out pin size, you're picking out a new site and you want to try pin size, figure out what pin works best for you. Always go to your bow shop and try stuff out before you get anything. See how your groups differentiate between one another from one pin size to the other. If you're shooting better groups with a 10,000 than a 19,000s, then get the 10,000s. If you feel like you hold better with a 19,000s and you're shooting tighter groups with it than a 15, whatever pin size, always go with what helps you shoot better. Don't get something that your buddy has just because it's cool and then you shoot like crap. It's not okay. Hope this helps you guys out. I wish everybody luck on turkey season coming up this year. Hope everybody's getting food plots planted in and everything else. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.